Guess who's back? It's us, the NightShifters. It is the 2024 NASCAR season. We are just finishing up from Daytona. Welcome back. I am your host, Crystal Clay. We've got Rocko, we've got Justice, and we also have a special guest today, Kap Houston. So
welcome, Kap. Welcome.
What's going on?
Yes, hey, Houston. Why did I say Houston?
Kap is in the house, the captain.
No,
Yada the captain, a.k.a. Yada, a.k.a. the Kap, a.k.a. Captain, a.k.a. the captain.
Dialed in.
Dialed in.
All right, so let's cycle back before Daytona since we've been gone for quite some time. What are some of the off-season changes for the pit crews that we should look out for?
Well, surprisingly, if I can add to the off-season changes, there haven't been a very significant amount of major changes where it's creating a buzz. Now, there have been some re-signs some re-signing of full crews. The MVP of last year, the number 6 crew of RFK, all of them banded together, and word on the street is they did re-sign together, and at the end of the day, they're a good team. So how are they going to handle year 3 of the next gen car and the fact that parity is up, which means human performance is magnified? That's the only way to gain and to win races. So other changes might be younger guys being introduced into a group. I don't see major changes other than Martin Truex Jr. I know he has a young phenom at rear tire changer that has been introduced to that team. The 9 car of Chase Elliott is one of the most veteran teams at HMS. They all remain the same, as well as Alex Bowman. Most of HMS has remained the same. Now, you will see some movement around on the non-house cars, where you see guys trying to earn a position for one of those house cars. And I think around race 5 or 6, if you still see mistakes like you saw in Daytona when pit stops weren't priority, you still had tires getting loose, you'll see some of those guys on the non-house cars getting a chance, and you'll see some shift in rosters. But right now, I think a lot of the teams just tried to build up a lot of continuity in the offseason, gel, and try to hit the first race running where there's no major mistakes. And at the end of the day, Atlanta will be the first true test for a lot of these teams and how they prepared this offseason. The ones that really gelled and hit the ball rolling and really put in that work this offseason, you're really going to see that translate in Atlanta and really in Las Vegas. Atlanta still has that super speedway qualities, but there wasn't a large talk and rumblings as far as guys jumping ship and moving to other organizations. But there might be little movement within the teams, and definitely within the house cars and the non-house car athletes, and especially within race 5 or 6.
No, he hit it on the head with that one. You'll probably see a little more movement, like he said, as we get later into these first few races. So, yeah, right now you're just building that continuity, you're gelling, and figuring out who can handle the pressure. So it'll probably be more changes, like Rocko said there, after the next few races that we have. Probably, I would say if I was a bet man, probably after Vegas, going into Phoenix, you might see some changes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I never even thought about that. I thought maybe this was like where the changes are, and then maybe somewhere in the middle of the season, you'll just.
Let's ask Mr. Trackhouse. Mr. Trackhouse, the Kap. I mean, is it pretty much status quo? Same teams on the same teams as they were the previous year, or what?
Well, the thing is, there's always changes each year, personnel wise. You move things around, try to make cars better. Some people switch teams, and then you got some developmental individuals that move up. Now, one thing I will point out is this is really the first off season that there hasn't been any major changes on the car, on the choreography, on the equipment, because for years it's always been something for, like with me, from going from clutch guns, from going to 7 to 6 and 6 to 5 people, and and also going to a single lug. And now there's truck and Xfinity 5-lug, and there's only single lug and Cup. And that right there is a huge impact on personnel, because your developmental, let's say tire changers, they don't have ARCA, truck, and Xfinity to practice and get better anymore. If you just come into the sport learning to change tires on a Cup car, your only experience is going to be going on the Cup car.
Some of the differences that the pit crews have to work through this offseason is being more consistent, not having tires fall off at the same time, finding that speed. There's a sweet spot. There's a sweet spot that you must obtain, being fast and not making mistakes. And being that I'm not over the wall anymore, I imagine it's somewhere between 8 and 9 seconds, but I would say 9 to 10 seconds, because if you're pushing sub 9 seconds, is that really necessary at a place like Daytona? I don't know. Maybe Kap can answer to that, since you still are going
I think
over
you'll
the
be
wall,
in the
homie.
range of like 10 seconds there for your 4 tire stops. You take Daytona, Talladega out of the mix, because you got a lot of fuel only 2 tire stops, those situations. So those guys on pit road, man, those athletes, those fine-tuned machines, going to be, I would say, in that 10 seconds, 10-5 range on 4 tire stops moving forward.
What do you think, Kap?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with y'all. 10-second stops would be great, especially at Daytona, track like Daytona. Also, the first race of the season. Usually, traditionally the pit stop times after the long off season, even though you're working on being fast, you're gonna leave off the season in your 9s and knocking off a few 8s. But it's been a long off season, and I promise you, nobody's knocking an 8-second stop off at Daytona. You're going to be in a 9.5, 10 seconds, and I think that'll get you through the day.
Is that what the 8 car tried to do at Daytona, Kap?
It might have been. I hope they wasn't trying to do it, but I don't know what.
All I have to say, I don't want to make this show, talking ish on crew members when they mess up. But long story short, you just said it. That this is Daytona. You don't need fast stops. And when I saw the replay, I saw a Jackman, dropping the car as if they were in Bristol competing for the lap on the money stop, and everybody's on point in rhythm, and you just dropping without looking. But if I'm at Daytona, and even if I'm not waiting on fuel at Daytona, I'm going to take the 3/10, 4/10, half of a second just to look, to make sure. I mean, the changer wasn't even nowhere near finished, and the car was dropped. And luckily, that tire stayed in the fender well. No one was suspended. No big penalties, right?
Yeah, and you got to also remember you're coming in big packs too. So most of the time your manufacturers stay together at Daytona, right? So you got to stay with your group in order for it to work, right? You lose your pack, you go a lap down. Now you're really looking back because you messed the stop up. So it's really not a need to rush in that situation, because you need to leave together.
Right. And fast stops aren't always important in super speedways. No mistakes. Stops with no mistakes are the most important stops. Least amount of mistakes on pit road is going to benefit you well. And just like Chris said, you coming in with your manufacturers, so you want to stay with your manufacturers. And a lot of times, if one is going to do 2 tires, you get on the radio and everybody's doing 2 tires. You're doing 4, everybody's doing 4. But the most important position on that pit crew on every car is going to be that gas man.
Absolutely.
Especially at a spot like Daytona, with the fuel mileage being so key. When the pit stop has gotten so fast, you can't even fill the car up.
Good point.
Now, do you guys think that it may be possible that NASCAR may continue to try to move on with less and less pit crew members and try to get closer to those pit road speed times by eliminating anybody and maybe adding to the car?
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean,
that's a tough one.
Yeah, think about it. You're starting to see all these pneumatic tools. You think that maybe they may be getting closer to IndyCar and, developing the cars to just lift on their own possibly. There goes that echo again.
Rocko's headphones went out.
Sorry.
Well, I don't know. I've heard some people say that, they are concerned that maybe they may even drop down one more position. That might be a Jackman, but that's not anything that's a big buzz right now. I've just heard this before.
Well, I think if you do that, then you lose the culture of the sport, right?
Yeah.
I mean, a part of the the feel of going to the race is seeing the pit crews and seeing the jack man and seeing the changes in the carriers all work together, not seeing some pneumatic jack the car and then you down a guy. That's part of the buzz. That's part of the lure, to be on pit road. So you can see that choreography and the big dance that, the pit crew guys do, and they do well, So I don't know. I think that'd be a dagger, man. I think that might be something that will bite us as a sport if we go to be like IndyCar or sports car where we don't have that jack man.
Yeah,
you cannot eliminate.
Yeah,
you cannot eliminate human performance.
Definitely agree with that. So it has been 20 years now since the Drive for Diversity program began. And I believe all three of you came through the D4D program. Is that correct?
That is accurate.
Correct.
That's accurate.
Okay. So, Kap, when did you start?
Like 05.
Okay. And what teams did you start with? Tell us a little bit more about yourself.
All right. Yeah. So the diversity program was at the pit school at the time. And after learning how to do pit stops, I ended up going over to Chip Ganassi Racing, and Coach Horton was over there. He was the head coach there. And that's where I started the developmental program, when I started learning how to change tires a little more on the competitive level. Started doing ARCA races and got my first Xfinity gig there. And after that, my first Cup gig was Furniture Road Racing. In between there was KHI, worked for Kevin Harvick Incorporated, Truck and Xfinity. Got a lot of Truck and Xfinity wins with that program. Really, really great impact in my career. And here at Trackhouse, with a lot of other teams of Truck and Xfinity in between that.
Awesome. All right. So there has been 20 years. I just came back from LA before Daytona to go to the Clash and cover that for Racing Refresh. And I actually attended the Drive for Diversity Awards. Kap, you were there.
That's fine. Yeah, I was there.
Yeah, you were there. This year, Chris missed out, but he actually won the crew member award for Drive for Diversity last year. And Rocko, have you ever obtained an award from that program?
I have. I won the crew member award once upon a year ago. I would think 2000 single digits, if that makes sense. It was. But long story short, it's one of those awards which it brings recognition to hard work and perseverance. When you're coming in the sport early in the developmental years of diversity in NASCAR, there was no structure, there was no rule book, there was nobody that guides you through this. So for you as a minority and to be recognized for dealing with certain issues or trials and tribulations, to overcome those and be a representative for others to say, hey, this sport is pretty cool. It means a lot to be recognized by that. And let's go through some of the awards that we're giving out. The crew member award this year, we're giving out to Mike Metcalf. We all know Mike Metcalf as a fueler. I think Mike should have been a tire carrier because of he was a running back at Appalachian State and a beast, but as a fueler, he changed and revolutionized the game as a fueler. So congratulations, crew member of the year, Mike Metcalf. Developmental series driver goes to Zach Herron. Young driver, developmental driver. Those are the guys that are really trying to make a name for themselves. Another award that we hold dearly to our heart is the Sam Bell Navis Industry Ambassador Award. And that goes to Jefferson Hodges of Team Penske Racing. And for everyone who knows Jefferson Hodges, he was the GM at Rev Racing as well before he took the job at Penske. And he's had a hand on many of the diversity drivers, crew members, and everyone who's come through Rev Racing. And then the next award was Diversity Institution Award, and that goes to the Chicago Public Schools. You have your National Series Driver Award, and that is Tyler Reddick, 2311, drives for Michael Jordan. Understandably so. Every time Michael Jordan has designed his shoes after his car, Tyler has seemed to find victory lane as well as Bubba. But he's a beast for sure. Outstanding intern goes to Chandler Love from the University of Miami. Diversity Partner Award goes to Keurig and Dr. Pepper. I believe they sponsor Bubba Wallace. Team diversity team goes to Venturini Motorsports. And guys, you know how Venturini is a dog and a beast in the ARCA world. I mean, they are the Hendrick Motorsports of the ARCA series. So, and not only that, most D4D athletes, stepping up through the ranks had to go through Venturini Motorsports at some point in time. So, I mean, at the end of the day, very deserving of that award. The diverse track is Phoenix Raceway, of course.
Latasha!
Your homie Latasha, track president there.
Madam President.
One of the last rewards we're going to bring to attention is the Young Racer Award, and that was dedicated to Katie Hedinger. So it must have been a great night out there as usual. NASCAR and the Diversity Awards, they put on a great show. And congratulations to everyone who received recognition that night.
Congrats.
Something that I think is interesting is that Ally actually took on a partnership for just the awards banquet. So they're like a title sponsor of the Drive for Diversity Awards now.
Wow.
I don't know if I've ever seen that before.
That is big. Really big.
Huge.
Yeah.
And I don't think that you could have come up with a better sponsor than Ally, because they seem to be right on target and doing, their whole slogan is do it right. And they've, stood up for, having a diversity all over the car. So I think it's a perfect match. And also another takeaway is that it seems like 2311 is really doing well at the whole diversity, getting diversity in the sport. It seems like every single year that I've been there, I've noticed that somebody is getting an award from them.
Well, why do you think that is, Crystal?
It's hard to beat MJ, man.
Black don't crack.
I think that they've also designed a team culture that they don't necessarily just want to be known as a NASCAR team. I think that they're starting to branch out and get into their communities a lot and kind of think outside of the box with what they're doing. Almost just like Trackhouse. I think those two are probably the best at this.
But I think that comes from just with those that support MJ on that deal, and for Trackhouse, they have experience outside of the sport, right? So they're merging all that business together, right? And using the tools that they learned in basketball, in the baseball, in the music industry, right? Merging all that stuff together to create this experience that wasn't there before, right? So now they're definitely changing the way we operate in the garage.
I mean, from Trackhouse here, they can tell you all about it too. Right?
Oh yeah.
So why are you guys doing so good at this?
It's just culture. When you hire people, you hire people, good people, outstanding people, and then you teach them what you need to teach them. You don't just go out and look for the best at any position. And you didn't. And I don't think the focus is really on going out and picking out a certain look of a person. I just think, even with Trackhouse, it was kind of inherited through CGR, and Rocko or Chris tell you, the three of us being in the sport for as long as we have, we've seen people come and go. But I think the longevity and veterans like us staying in, and we've just seen it grow and grow and grow, and it's just it's a beautiful thing. Yeah.
Can I offer my 2 cents?
Yeah.
Always.
All right, here's my 2 cents on it. Okay. Old NASCAR versus new cut NASCAR. I'm going to lump 2311, Trackhouse, and Legacy MC as the new NASCAR. Why is that the new NASCAR? If you think about it, the new NASCAR team owners are not naming their teams after themselves. They're naming their teams after ideals, after visions, after things that they want to accomplish. So, old school NASCAR, Rick Hendrick named his team Hendrick Motorsports. Roger Penske Racing. Long story short, you got Michael Jordan coming in here. New energy, new vibe, a new type of feel. He loves the race, and at the end of the day, he partners up with Denny Hamlin. What do they name their team? Not Jordan Hamlin Racing, 2311. They named the team after a vibe. Trackhouse Racing, when they came into the sport, Pitbull, Mr. Marks, they partnered together. Do they name it Pit Marks Racing? No. They named it after a vibe. They named it after an ideal, after something that they're trying to accomplish, something different and unique. Trackhouse, and you can see it as soon as you walk into the garage how different they are. Finally, but not least, look at Jimmy Johnson. Petty Racing is what that team used to be called. Used to be labeled in the petty blue, historic colors. totally revamped, moved to England, named his team Legacy MC. Sounds like a Euro soccer club now. At the same time, he lives over there getting all that Euro money. Long story short, he named his team off of a vibe, an energy, and that's what these new ownerships are doing. That's what that new energy is doing, and that's the reason why we're streaming now, getting new audiences and the human performance level. I got to keep jamming that in your head, because that's going to be the difference maker from old school NASCAR and new school NASCAR.
That's a really good point. I didn't even think about that, like, at all. And I think another thing too is, especially with Trackhouse, is why I have Kap on here today, is not only do they, you know, like you said, embrace like their culture, they also elevate the people that are already there. And I know everybody this week has had dialed in, stuck in their heads.
Dialed in.
Dialed in. The video.
Yeah. The
Ready
video's
to
dropped.
roll.
It's great quality. Like, I would expect nothing less out of Trackhouse or out of Kap. But Kap, can you tell
If y'all
us
just
how
seen
that
it, y'all
all
late.
went down?
Y'all late. Y'all late if y'all just on that. And we've been on Kap.
I've seen it within the last week, but I've heard the song whenever he actually
You're
came
one
up
of
with
the
it
first-
in Nashville.
yes,
We all
yeah.
heard it that same weekend.
Why
Yes,
can't we
we're
play it
just
right
on-
now? We better
I-
play it right now. We better edit that in there. Dialed
No,
in.
I actually want to put the video at the end of the show, if that's okay with Kap.
Yeah, of course it's okay.
Yeah, always. So
Once you-
yeah, tell us about the video. Tell us about last year in Nashville and how you came up with the song. I want to hear all about it.
So yeah, I've been making music for a long time. I'm from Bronx, New York originally. So the hip hop culture has always been in me. Always been fascinated with rap, R&B, and coming down here to North Carolina was a it's a little different down in North Carolina than New York as a kid. But creating and making music as an artist was always in me, something I wanted to do. So with that being said, getting into NASCAR, that didn't change. It just turned into music about my environment, which was NASCAR. And I think Rocko, remember when I was at Hendrick? When you was in here,
Yep.
I think he was on the 5.
Yep.
At the time. And when we worked out, I was just, surprised at the music that was played in the gym. And I was like, oh, okay.
Get her done.
Yeah. Everybody's everybody's just not listening to what
Got
you
the banjo.
What, did
Bluegrass.
Rocko walk in and ask if it was Kenny Chesney?
Yeah.
What is this? What is this?
then,
Chesney?
On top of that, then you had like Mark Martin openly talking about his favorite artist was Gucci Mane.
Gucci Mane.
Yeah. And I was like, man, okay. I was like, this and that. So that gave me like a little more
Yep.
confidence to, like, I'm gonna write a song about my NASCAR experience. So my first song was Living the Dream. And
Yep.
that was probably
Classic.
it was over 10 years ago.
Classic.
And I wrote that song.
Living the
I had it on
dream.
my phone and played it for people. And it was like, man, this is, people liked it. And I made it for the weight room. I put it on CD and I put it in the CD player in the weight room.
Yada. Remember when Dale Jr. and T.I. was doing all those Chevy commercials when you were in Hendrick too at the time?
Yeah.
They were trying to mix in the drivers with the rap music, and at the time, T.I. and Jeezy and them were popping in, and Dale Earnhardt. That's how Dale Earnhardt got his credit, and credibility. When he got seen with T.I. and Jeezy, he in those commercials. He was just really relatable.
Well, like you hear more Chevy references in hip hop and rap music.
Yeah, because black people love Chevy.
Yeah,
Black people always been in racing now. We've always been in racing. We've always been down with Chevy. We ain't new to motor racing now. We just new to NASCAR. But blacks have been in racing.
Yeah.
Don't get it twisted.
You remember that song? Yeah, buddy.
Yeah.
Pit stop. So I was like, hey.
Like a NASCAR pit stop.
And I think just nobody's ever written any rap songs or anything about their experiences coming from the inside. It was always artists just writing about what they saw on TV and what they saw from the outside as a fan perspective of NASCAR. Nobody's written any songs about their experiences, and that's
living the dream.
Yeah. So then after that was Life in the Pits. Was the next song I wrote, and the one line
grimy.
Again, just a little history, like what, and this is why I continue to make music, because even like in the hip hop world, somebody in my age is not like as a career as a rapper is like it's unheard of until now. You're seeing artists, you just man, it like 2 Chainz, he was late 30s and still popping, but it was hard for an artist being
Wayne,
in the 30s and 40s, but and now that just changed again. What I mean, the awards, hip hop awards, and all that stuff. Everybody,
hey, well, yada, the same people who was listening to the rappers when they weren't 30. Guess what? When the rappers turn 30, the ones that were listening to them are turning 32 and 40. So you still got to make music for them.
Yeah, it's going along now. But so like Life in the Pits. That was one. But that goes it goes all the way up until with Crystal. Crystal's come in and like I got this song Nashville. I got this song called Dialed In, and of course, you're in Nashville. You're in the country music capital of the world. The feeling of a country twang came into it, and I'm country too. I was we farmed around here. Even though I'm from Bronx, New York, I got a lot of country.
Get her done. Jeet yet? Yardbird.
My grandma told me to go out and pick a switch out before the
and don't get the skinny one.
Yeah, I went and got the wrong one, and you got
go back and get a bigger one.
Yeah. So that's where old Dialed In came from. Dialed in, buckle up, we ready to roll.
Dialed in. Hey, that's the Kap is the reason why.
Like a line dance or some kind of, is anybody making this up yet?
No.
Have you seen a Jelly Roll video? Have you seen Jelly Roll?
I have.
He stole all of Kap's move. I mean, Jelly Roll is popular now because of Kap, because now all Jelly Roll and country music do is rap. So Jelly Roll heard Dialed In and Kap and changed his whole swag. Jelly Roll did.
I love for him to have it. Yeah, I love it.
I'm popular for not enjoying country music, but that song has been stuck in my head all week.
Yeah, I think like kids love it. I've had parents send videos of their kids just dancing to it. It's a definitely a good song for the ages.
Yeah, he definitely dropped the music video right around the same time that Beyonce dropped her new music.
Yeah, she's
perfect timing.
Yeah, Beyonce went off and did a country album. Got a lot of hate for it, but that's part of it, right? She got the #1 song in country, hit the Billboard.
Yeah.
So all the hate and likes pushed it up to #1. That's another accomplishment. So she's probably end up getting another Grammy that her husband will probably jump up and complain about.
Shots fired.
Boom. Yeah. Because
that's good. And so I just want to make sure you haven't left anything out with your story. You got into Dialed In, and where were you going with that? I'm sorry.
Oh no, not at all. Yeah. That was that's why I do me. So and also at the same time is making the music as part of my content. Like I'm a content creator. I'm an artist. I'm a tire changer. All of this is me in my NASCAR career, and I'm at the point where I have the platform to inspire, and to motivate, to entertain, and I got to thank it all to my career in NASCAR. If it wasn't for NASCAR, I don't know where I'd be. So I'm very, very, very blessed to be in this position this year, and it's just a great feeling. And then, like you said, it just dropped that video then here come Beyonce with a with a similar album and film. So I think that a lot of worlds are gonna collide, and I'm here for it.
Cap, can I say something? Crystal, can I say something?
Yeah.
Can I add my 2 cents?
Always.
All right.
Hey, Rocko, hold up, man. You up to 10 cents right about now, man.
You just made me. Hey, I got 2 cents for you, Cap. You know, you made me think of something. You know, when Cap, as I hear you talk and I see you move at the racetrack, it seems like now everything is moving in slow motion for you now. You know, when you're early in your career, sometimes things moves fast. You're unsure. You don't know what's going on. It seems like you have it figured out now to the point where things are moving slower. Does that make sense?
No. It's completely. You're completely right. But at the same time, I mean, you said it yourself. We rolled around. It's like the last season is already over, and here we are again, and we already finished another Daytona 500, right?
Yeah.
And
It's going by quick.
And we going to Atlanta. Like you're in Atlanta right now. That quick.
Yep.
I feel like was just in Florida 3 hours ago.
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
The thing is everything is still moving at the same speed, of course. But now the way I process it is everything's opened up. It's opened up now. I don't just have the one focus used to be on hitting 5 lugs and one race at a time. Then I make it the next week. Then it's one off season at a time. Make sure I'm still employed. Make sure I do what I need to do. And now it's everything's opened up, and it's like, all right, who can I help? Who wants to come along? Who can I put a smile on face this weekend? Every time I see Crystal, I always make her smile easy. Look, you see?
Cheese, macaroni and cheese.
Once I figured out how to do that, how to effortlessly make people smile, and that I knew how valuable it was for me to be motivated, getting up every morning to go to practice, to go to the shop, and then to load up on that plane and go to the next racetrack.
I do like that you're kind of taking on like a bigger role in the content creation too. Like, I think that's amazing. And like you said, I do always smile when I see you, but you and all the other guys at Trackhouse have so much energy to share with everybody. And I think like probably the most hyped pit crews on the track.
I will say, and Crystal, as far as changes, we missed out on the Trackhouse pit crew. I believe it's the 71 crew, or who's your it's a all black pit crew. All black pit crew.
Yeah.
Yeah, Zane Smith's car. All black pit crew.
You guys, it's Fire Motorsports, but you guys are
back
in the car, right?
And there's some dogs. Some dogs.
Yeah, them boys are good.
Change.
Them boys are good.
They're gonna turn some heads. Quiet as it's kept.
Seen an all black pit crew?
No, we've had them in there before, but this is an all black pit crew on a team on a very good team that has a charter. Let's put it that way.
Gotcha.
Most all black pit crews aren't on teams with charters.
That makes sense.
Until
so
now.
Let's start talking about Daytona. How many Daytona rings are in this chat right now?
I got one.
Not just 500, but just I'm sorry.
Well, I got a truck. I got a truck ring.
Yeah, but how many rings altogether do you have for Daytona? How many are in the chat? You said, Chris, you got one.
I got an Xfinity ring. I got an Xfinity ring with Tony Stewart.
Aha.
So 2.
In a Hendrick car.
Yeah, I got a truck.
Why are there balloons? So that's 2.
Yeah, I got
and
a truck.
How many do you have, Kenyatta?
I got a truck ring, but I've won 5 Daytona truck races.
Ugh.
Gosh.
Man.
So yeah.
I've got 0, so there we go. We're here. So yes, you just celebrated a Daytona win in the Truck Series with Nick Sanchez.
Yeah,
Yes, you did. Congratulations.
Big congrats there, man.
Good.
Big
About the
congrats.
Truck Series. But congratulations on that. You also won that with Evan and who's it?
Marshall
McFadden. You
Nick.
guys also have your own
Brandon.
podcast, The Lecture Hall. So what's that about? What's
The
your
lecture,
MO?
the lecture hall, I started right before it was 2019, before everything shut down, and we went throughout the season. It was something that when me and Richie, we was getting interviewed for something, and I was like, and you know how we always are at the track, and I wanted to just be able to try to capture that, that little essence, and at the same time, I wanted to get on the podcast to continue to talk and to get better at talking and just speaking directly to a camera and almost feeling like you're talking to yourself a lot of times. But just getting that practice, just like practicing pit stops, knowing that one day in my future that I would be in front of the camera more, speaking to the people, speaking to the fans. And the lecture hall was one of those things that I started to do that. And after the pandemic, things kind of shut down because I was running it out of the out of my studio here at the house. And once somebody brought it up at the shop, it was like, you guys, because we built a studio area in the shop, and somebody that saw it before was like, you guys should bring the lecture hall back, right? And I was like, all right. So here we are, back at it.
Well, I think that's amazing. I think the sport needs more representation there, especially from the pit crews. So that's always.
We're going to give it to them. We're going to give it to them.
Absolutely. So let's talk about Daytona. I know that there's been a lot of outcry talking about the trucks once again being a little chaotic. Not enjoying that. And then also people were talking about Raja, like, congrats on what is he, top 3 finish?
Second P2, wasn't he?
Yeah,
first.
Yeah. But they're
P2.
also talking about when Bubba pulled him aside because of how I guess everybody's racing in the trucks.
Yeah. And then, how are you going to police the truck series at the same time? It's a developmental series. You have guys trying to gain experience. The only way to gain true race experience is in a race, which is why the races are shorter, which is why it's called a developmental series. They have to practice. Now, the policing should be handled by the athletes within the sport. OGs get young rookies and they tell them how to do this. And that's how it was. I think the problem is now you don't have guys like Jeff Gordon, Matt Kenseth, Carl Edwards, Mark Martin, who would take a little rookie and say, look, dude, stop, chill out, or I'm going to F you up type of deal. Like, this is how we do stuff. At the end of the day, these are all young drivers trying to find their own way. They have different personalities, a totally different generation of kid here where it takes, I look at it as there's a process that has to be involved. Okay, so yeah, they keep wrecking. Eventually, they will figure it out on their own, or somebody internally will step up and organize this group. But at the end of the day, it makes for exciting television. It's a developmental series. Not everyone is wrecking, and you have to have a series like this to gain true experience.
Yeah, you also don't have a lot of your superstars like your Kyle Busches, your old school racers in those events early now, right? Yeah. So you don't have that, like Rocko said, you don't have that leadership on the racetrack, right? So you got kids leading kids and kids being aggressive, right? It's like you get a bunch of 16-year-old sports cars and tell them to go down the highway, right? I mean, It's the same kind of concept. So, the person is on the racetrack. Do I think you should have some more sideline coaching with it? Somebody like a driver coach involved? Absolutely. And I think those conversations will have those type of situations. But you're not going to get it until you're nose to tail, side by side, at 190 miles an hour in those trucks.
Pay those guys more. Maybe they'll race better.
Money
Pay
more. More. I agree.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And then I guess we'll open up the floor to everything Daytona. How do we feel about William Byron winning?
I'm a little partial to that 24 car. I'm partial to that 2-4 car.
Stop.
Well, hey, they're saying, look, the 24 car, it was good. I don't care who you're a fan of. At the end of the day, the 24 in Victory Lane is a win for the sport. You have to think of how important that number was and how it was just for guys like us who didn't even know NASCAR existed, but we know who Jeff Gordon was. So at the end of the day, William Byron is representing that number now, and he did a good job for the simple fact that he's 26 years old. The dude won 6 races last season. I mean, well, was that? Yeah, last season won 6 races. 6 alone, and could have had more. So at the end of the day, he's a dog. He deserves to win. I like to see dogs perform, and I definitely like to see young athletes really claim a victory like that. So
you had a lot of good racing, right? You had a lot of good racing. You had the Noah Gregsons, and he was moving and shaking out there, and Chastain was his normal aggressive self, and pissing people off and smiling about it, right? So you had a lot of good side by side racing, a lot of lead changes, right? And we come down to even the veterans made accidents, right? Had the big one there. So, I think the Daytona was a win, even though it was on a Monday, right? Mm-hmm. Biblical downpours kept us out of Sunday. But I still think the Cup guys put on a good show on Monday. President's Day for all those guys that are home. The families that still could enjoy it with all the, Mother Nature not playing in our favor. But I do think that it was still a good race.
As someone who bets, I'm just mad that I believe I told Adam during the clash that I had a feeling that William Byron would probably win Daytona. And then, I just made a casual comment about it. And then I went to the betting kiosk, and then I put $60 down on 3 drivers that did not win. Completely. Because I have this thing about getting in my own way.
Adam confirmed this, by the way. He confirmed this.
I did say, I know where I was. I was in that 1932 club walking by, and I was like, I have a feeling William Byron's going to win Daytona 500. And did I put money on it? No. And that's not the first time I've done it. It just, to me, it's just like, oh, well, it just can't be that easy. But
Kap, how many pit stops did you do, Kap?
I did 0, because I'm roaming the streets on pit road.
I forget you, Roman. You're a staple. I still think he's over the wall. Yeah. You ain't never gonna be a not over the wall, Kap.
But I think
they only did 2 or 3 pit stops on average.
I think that was the consensus, Rock. I think it was 2 or 3, maybe 4 pit stops.
A lot of fuel only.
Fuel only with your groups, manufacturers coming in with their game plans, running long, running short. I think the plan stayed true for the manufacturers. It looked like everybody did a good job getting on and off pit road.
But Chris, that brings me to my point. How does the 8 car have a loose tire? How do you think you're going to gain spots on pit road to the point where you don't even check off at Daytona on a fuel mileage race with manufacturer orders? How does that even happen?
Right. That goes when we were talking about gelling earlier, right? And finding that rhythm with your group. And that just was one of those situations that came to the surface. On the big stage, right? That's the biggest stage you have. That's our Super Bowl, right?
I hate it.
Have that happen.
I hate it.
At the Super Bowl is like fumbling on the 1, right?
I hate it. You know what they're thinking? They're thinking it's like, this is, it can be fixed. It could be fixed through coaching, through accountability,
right?
Through a belief in a fundamental sound system that let me check off. I feel like the only time you don't have to check off, and the young kids will call me old for saying that, oh, you checking off, oh man, pit stops are too fast now. You can't check off. You can at a place like Daytona when you're waiting on fuel. You
can. And most tracks we go to now, with the 1 lug, you're still waiting on fuel. Even on 4
still waiting.
You're waiting on fuel. Yep.
Still waiting on fuel.
Yep.
If you have 8 stops, if you have 8 pit stops in a race, let's say if you have 10 pit stops in a race, if you have 10 pit stops in a race, I would say only 2 of those pit stops, the time matters, where you had to bust off a good pit stop. Other than that, I wish these teams would get into their thick skulls. The only way you pick up positions on pit road when you're running in the top 5 is when other individuals in the top 5 make mistakes. You cannot gain positions on pit road running in the top 5. They are too good. The only time you can gain on pit road is when another team makes a mistake. And that is a fact.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Absolutely. I mean, you're down to tenths of seconds on these pit stops. 10.5 to a 10.4, right?
Yep. We're going to see it in Atlanta. Atlanta is a hybrid racetrack because it's a half-speed super speedway, half intermediate. So, at the end of the day, it's getting old, too, as well. It's wearing. So, I foresee Atlanta being like it used to be where pit stops didn't matter. You would do 15, 16 stops. At the end of the day, we might be taking Atlanta too lightly and thinking ahead of Vegas, as pit crew athletes, thinking that Vegas will be our first true test, when in actuality, you might be standing right before them this weekend in Atlanta.
Well, they said today during qualifying for the Xfinity Series, talking about the bumps and how the track is aging. It's not as smooth as it was when we first got after the repave, right? So the track characteristics are now changing, and we've seen it even in qualifying. So
yep.
Saturday and Sunday.
It's a perfect recipe. Perfect recipe for some good racing and for pit stops that matter.
Yeah, I know anytime in the past that they've repaved the track, the Goodyear had to bring a certain tire in to kind of match up with that, because the tire, they don't wear it as much as the freshly paved surface. And yes, I do agree the race is going to be a little different, and I'm hoping that it doesn't change too much, because I kind of like the idea of Atlanta being that third speedway, being a little baby speedway type of race under Talladega and Daytona.
I do too. I like it as long as the pit stops still matter, because it could be a super speedway with a little bit of a change, because Atlanta, before they made the change, used to be one of the fastest racetracks we went to. Yeah. And then being built on that hill. So it had its own personality already. It was really, really fast, and the tires really, really wore out. So I'm glad that as a super speedway hybrid now, we're getting some of that back with the track wearing out now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I hope I can definitely not bet this week, not mess up my pockets. I'm not even going to make a pick. If I had to, I'd probably stick.
Bet on the Georgia boys. Just bet on the Georgia boys. You know Chase Elliott.
No. I even thought that maybe I would just start betting on the super speedway guys that I should have thought to bet last week. And, I think William Byron can actually go back to back like he did last year. And he's won in Atlanta before, so why not? I'm not going to do it, though. So if he wins, you guys can make fun of me next week for it.
I'm feeling Keselowski. I'm feeling a bit Keselowski-ish,
You say that, but he's due for one. I'm
feeling it. In Atlanta, in that Auto Trader car, when he used to drive that Auto Trader car here, he used to dominate in Atlanta, So I don't know. That just came in my head. I'm gonna tell my grandma to bet on Keselowski.
I'm gonna use every 2 cents you've given me for the night and go bet on Keselowski. All right, after Atlanta, we have Vegas. So I will definitely be there. I'm actually excited. I need to.
Me and Kap are looking forward to Vegas. That's our favorite race.
Wait, why isn't Justice looking forward to Vegas?
Because he loses too much money. Me and Kap wins all the time.
Yeah, we are.
Oh, really?
Yeah, craps table is my friend.
I stay away from all living out here. I know better. My worst thing is sports bets. That's it. So I'll have to stay away from that. But I'm terrible. We've got it at our job. We have 2 little kiosks set up. So the rule is we're not supposed to go on it, but I will happily give my money to somebody else to go do it for me. What are you counting over
big
there?
Worm over there or what?
Betting just don't matter to me. It just money. You just get more money when you need it. When it go, you just get more.
Why you got that Atlanta, man? Ain't no casinos down there.
I'm hometown, baby.
Yeah.
I can make I'm in the A. Let me know what you want me to do.
I do have one final thought.
All right.
Fuel size, fuel cells. Do you?
Oh yeah.
At the end of the day, a lot of these races are turning into fuel mileage races. These pit stops are so fast. We cannot change tires fast enough. We cannot get the cars full enough. I have a solution. Make the fuel cell bigger. Let's make it bigger. let's give these drivers enough fuel where they don't have to save gas. They can just floor it the whole way, and we can see racing as it's intended to be. And they can just drive it hard all the time. Come in the pits hard all the time and have the best athletes in the world service those vehicles hard all the time. That's my 2 cents.
But with that though, Rock, though, at the speedways, I don't think the big cell's gonna really make a difference like that, right? You know, the guy leading the pack is gonna burn more fuel than the guy in the middle of the pack just how the draft works.
Well, then don't lead.
Somebody's got to lead.
You know, that's the part of the strategy. One of the biggest things when we went into the race at Daytona, how are we going to race Daytona? Are we going to go to the front, or are we going to hang out to the back? You have that larger cell, it'll force the smart crew chiefs to be smart. That's all it will do.
Okay, I see what you're saying. I see where you're going. Stretch it out a little bit.
Yeah, stretch it out a little bit. Let the drivers mat it down the whole time. You know, at the end of the day, right now, it's a handicap not knowing how to manage your fuel. The drivers that do it really, really well, like how Denny Hamlin was complaining on his podcast, I was bored the first half of the race because everybody was saving fuel. Well, the ones that were really, really good at it, they spent way less time on pit road at the end of that stage and benefited from that. So at the end of the day, that fuel cell is larger. It doesn't matter anymore. You can just floor it. And the drivers that are good at that advantage gets nullified. And I think that should be nullified in some way, you know. My opinion.
Kap?
I don't know.
I just wanted to make sure you didn't have any.
I don't know.
I don't care what size the fuel cells are. You know what I mean? I'm ready for them to come into the pits, change tires.
Darn right.
Say take the restrictor plates off. Let them eat.
Man, then they're going to fly. Now you sound like a country boy. Let them fly. Take the restrictor plate off. Let it chew. They're going to go off like a plane.
I want to see them have
Them things going to go so fast, they're going to take off when they hit them.
But then you got to have throttle control. Then you got to be able to work that thing, man.
Well, that's why I'm not a race car driver, because I'm scared of that. I keep it on cruise. You got to see me when I drive by.
I'm 10-2. All the time.
I tell you what to make the racing better. Put Kap Houston on that stage to perform dialed in, and then the rest of the season.
You know what?
Drivers gonna get up on the wheel after they hear that live.
100% with that.
I agree, 100%.
I will say,
get that done.
Somebody.
Yeah, somebody.
Dude, all I gotta say, the Operation Rocko Meets the Rock was a failure at Daytona.
Oh, no.
You know, you smell what the Rocko was cooking did not, come to fruition. It didn't happen. You know, the dude was in and out. I like the fact that he came back Monday, so that shows, his that he was into it, but at the same time, I didn't get to holler at my boy The Rock, who was dwarfing people everywhere he went.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you were also talking about fuel, but I believe you said that you had a fueler of the week.
I did have a fueler of the week. It has to go to Landon Walker of the 24 car. Clemson graduate. He was a standout football player. At the end of the day, the dude looks good too. Pause. Not like that, but at the end of the day, he is an attractive individual because they do commercials on this pit crew now. I think they have a clothing line now. They're doing commercials, and he was the guy that, at the end of the day, got that car full and helped William Byron get across that finish line to capture his first Daytona 500. At a fuel mileage race, it has to go to Landon Walker and that 24 car as my fueler of the week.
I feel like you should be doing that every week.
I have them every week. We just need to record every week so we can get that out there, or Lecture Hall needs to do it or something. We need to get it sponsored.
We can do it. I like the idea.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I believe that's it. Everybody's got what they need out.
Yep.
It was
All
good
right,
seeing
so-
everybody.
It was. We were long overdue.
I appreciate y'all having me on the show.
Yes, thank you for
No,
coming,
thank
Kap.
you for coming
Night Shifter.
on. I think what we want to do is close out to your video. Forget doing the Night Shifters regular thing. No, cut that, Adam.
Yeah.
Play Kap's video. We're going to do it that way.
I like it.
Shout out to Kap for getting dialed
All
in.
right, so
Or
go
Adam,
ahead.
we can close with this. I'm a night shifter. Oh, and she's looking at me.
Ooh, there
I
it go.
like that.
I'm a night shifter, but I ain't got the tone.
Oh. Nice battle.
That was perfect. Down in, buckle up, we ready to roll. I'm down in, all pedal, no cruise control. I'm down in, with a hot chick by my side. 4 tank, 4 tires pumped up, can't break my stride. I'm ready to take a ride with the best from track to track, but I ain't going nowhere without some beers in the back. 6-pack or a case, we turning it up. New tires on my truck, I'm burning it up. Looking good in my bow tie. It don't matter if you ride high, you low ride. Still rolling, you can never knock me off track. I'm still focused, everybody wanna see me fall. They're still hoping, coasting. And you know we gon' win. Wake up the next day, we gon' do it again. She gon' bring some friends, she got her hair in the wind. Hold on, bro, you already know it. I'm down in, buckle up, we ready to roll. I'm down in, all pedal, no cruise control. I'm down in, with a hot chick by my side. 4 tank, 4 tires pumped up, can't break my stride. I'm ready to ride. Country boy from the Mo, living a dream. Been in the pit since there was wearing Wrangler jeans. Still pit, still rap, no change in me. Got range on the track, I'm hard to beat. Call me camouflage cap, I'm hard to see. I give you food for your thoughts, that's hard to eat. Back in North Wilkesboro since 96. I'm at the All-Star race, superstar in the pits. Keep digging, and you know we gon' win. Wake up the next day, we gon' do it again. She gon' bring some friends, she got her hair in the wind. Hold on, bro, you already know it. I'm down in, buckle up, we ready to roll. I'm down in, all pedal, no cruise control. I'm down in, with a hot chick by my side. 4 tank, 4 tires pumped up, can't break my stride. I'm ready to ride.